Peace, love, and light, Taurus, and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ty, and I'm super happy to have you. Hopefully you'll take a look around, like what you see, and hit the subscribe button. If you're returning, thank you so much for joining me again. I truly appreciate all of the love and the support. Hopefully you've already subscribed to the channel. If you're new to tarot and you don't know how this works, it is a general reading, so everything won't resonate. Please take what resonates, leave the rest for someone else. Also keep in mind that roles are interchangeable, so you should place yourself and everybody in your story where you know they belong, because only you know where they belong. This includes the role that you play in your own story. Act accordingly. Put yourself in the place where you know you belong. Okay? Anywho, Taurus, we're going to get into this because I don't want these readings to be too long. But I felt called to do a general reading for earth signs, beginning with yours, because we're about to experience a full moon in the sign of Taurus tomorrow. So we're already in that energy. Anyway, as I sat here and meditated on your energy, I get the sense that somebody is really trying to repair themselves. Like Taurus, like you've been really trying to make healthier choices, to heal yourself internally and not escape the things that you have tried to escape in the past. I feel like you're really trying to stabilize yourself. You're trying to ground yourself. You really are working at rebuilding yourself and repairing yourself. And I feel like for some of you, part of this preparation, part of this healing process is experiencing a separation from someone who you either were in a relationship with or some sort of connection with. Some of you who weren't or haven't been in a committed relationship with someone, that would mean that you are taking yourself off of the market, right? Even if you were single and you were outside and you were just dealing with different people, or you were dating and trying to search for love or find someone, I feel like you have gone into almost hermit mode where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna remove myself for that because I need to focus on me. I need to heal myself. I need to work on myself. I need to cut out distractions because there is a certain pattern of behavior that you are trying to stop. And I feel like you're doing that work right now. And I really do feel like you're making an active effort to love yourself more, to care for yourself more, to be more present with yourself so that you can experience a happier, healthier life full of love. And I love that for you. Whoever this resonates with, I love that for you. I feel like, yeah, you really are trying to do the necessary work, One of the things that I'm picking up here is Taurus, especially now during this full moon, if you're on the East Coast. I don't know where it's happening in other areas. You would have to, what time and stuff like that, you would have to Google it. But spend time outdoors, right? Sometimes even if you don't want to be around other people, right? Because you're separating yourself from certain people. It could be friendships, it could be family. You just feel the need to hibernate, right? And that's what happens when you're going through a dark night of the soul or an awakening, or, you really are trying to heal yourself. You go through a period of isolation. You go hermit, right? So that you can listen to your intuition, so that you can connect with God, okay? Some of you might be on a mission to connect with God, right? Some of you might be religious, you might go to church or something like that, right? I'm not religious. I don't go to church, but, to each their own. But yeah, I do feel like you are trying to make a decision, right? You really are trying to balance yourself. Yeah. I feel like some of you have recently experienced some sort of a tower moment where there was a sudden change or just shocking news, something that came out of nowhere, right? But I feel like part of that is like you going through this transformation, right? Where you're awakening to new parts of yourself. It's like Taurus, you don't want to run from yourself anymore. And I feel like you're facing a lot of things that aren't easy, right? How people have hurt you, but also how you have hurt other people. And I feel like having to face those things, facing yourself in the mirror and actually not turning your face, standing there and staring at the reflection and seeing all of these things come up. I feel like you could be going through a period of sadness and deep hurt, reflecting on how your actions have not just hurt other people, but hurt you, like in the ways that your actions and your decisions have hurt you. I think that Taurus, for whoever this resonates with, you are realizing just how much you have sabotaged yourself, how much you have stood in your own way, how much you have hurt your own process. And you know, that's something that's very hard to do. It's challenging to face ourselves and face, you know, all of the ways that we've stood in our own way, right? How our own actions have hindered, you know, our growth, our evolution. And for others of you, I feel like with this situation, or most of you, the part of the process where you are recognizing or facing the fact that, you know what, I need to be with myself right now. So some of you were in a relationship or in some sort of connection that you're realizing, you know what, I have to cut this off. I have to let this go. And so I feel like just that process of knowing, oh my God, my neck is hurting me. Just that process of knowing that you are choosing to make, or you're making the conscious choice to be single, to be by yourself. And I feel like for many of you, this is something that you've never truly experienced, because I get this sense here that Taurus, you have, you're realizing that you have been codependent, right? That you have always had someone there, needing someone there. And so I feel like just facing that, you know, in and of itself, like what a win for you to come to that realization, right? And to make that choice to say, you know what, I need this time for me. I need to heal. I need to really look at all of the things. I need to get in the nooks and the crannies and the crevices of my soul, and see and face all of these things, all of these shadows, because, you know, the first step is like admitting, right? Like it's almost like an addiction, right? Admitting that there is a problem, noticing, acknowledging that there's a problem, and then accepting the problem. And then the next step after that is, oh my God, why does my neck hurt so much? Is figuring out, excuse me, sorry, how do I change this? How do I heal this? Right? Yeah. Okay. Let's get into it. Okay, this flipped. Yeah. Two of Pentacles. This is the dance of change. Somebody's really trying to juggle. And it could be that you're juggling a lot. You could be juggling a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions, you know, juggling, you know, a lot of work or family issues, just a lot of stuff. Judgment. Yeah, there's a decision here. Somebody's trying to really make a decision. But I feel like awakening to the call. Like you're awakening to what God, divine spirit has been trying to show you. And look at this. You got the judgment angel up here, right? Reaching out her hand. Okay. And you see there's a little heart here with wings. I don't know. Maybe some of you wear jewelry that, you know, resembles that. That's significant. That's, you know, to you. That might not be for everybody. I noticed there's a cross back here. So like I spoke about religion, and it's funny because typically like you don't really see crosses like this unless it's like the Hierophant in tarot decks. But in this one, in Judgment, you see a cross back here. So yeah, some of you might be going to church, might be reaching out, you know, to pastors or just, you know, religious leaders, to help you along this change. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with, you know, leaning on someone for guidance, whatever that is, a guru, a mentor, a friend, somebody that you confide in, that is living in a way that resonates with your spirit, right? Not that's going to co-sign BS. So Judgment is all about awakening So I feel like somebody here is awakening to the changes that they need to make. The Two of Cups is at the bottom of the deck. And I did see the Twin Flame card. So I feel like this Two of Cups here is, Taurus, you're connecting, you're learning how to love on yourself, and you're learning how to strengthen your relationship with yourself and the Most High. You're learning how to strengthen your relationship with God, right? And you're leaning on divine creator source, whatever that is for you, however you you see God, right? In whatever way, whatever religion, whatever way of life, culture, you're leaning on your faith. You're leaning on God to help you through this process. And I think that's just beautiful. Excuse me. Right? The Five of Pentacles. Yeah, this is isolation. Okay, this is being left out. So I feel like it's in this card, there's a woman outside of a window looking in, you know, at like what appears to be like two people, right? If you see the shapes here. But I feel like this is you looking out because you're now choosing to be on the outside, right? Or at least someone is awakening to the fact that they have to choose to isolate themselves, right? They have to choose. And also there's somebody that you also have to choose, or you're in the process of choosing, you know, again, this separation, leaving someone, okay? It could have been that you were maybe contemplating marriage, right? Maybe you were contemplating, you know, proposing to someone, or maybe even on the brink of actual marriage. And once, you know, this shock came, this tower, this realization, this awakening, I feel like everything has changed. It's like, no, now that's not the plan anymore, right? Somebody here had a plan, and that's not the plan anymore. The Page of Cups came out. Somebody came to some unexpected realization or information. Oh my God, I'm so tired all of a sudden, right? Maybe this is weighing on you so heavy that, you know, you are experiencing that, you know, like fatigue, like I'm just tired. Queen of Pentacles here. Yeah. So that's Taurus energy. Okay. Yeah, I feel it's important for you to ground yourself, Taurus, right? So spend time in nature, try to, you know, keep a healthy diet. Because I can't help but notice all of the herbs here, right? So maybe you're somebody who, you know, takes, you know, a lot of practices, a lot. Oh my God. You look for natural remedies, okay? And if that's not you, if that's not something that you're accustomed to doing, then I feel like you're awakening to that, right? You're realizing certain things, right? How you need to make certain improvements in order to take care of yourself, Taurus, right? To really value yourself, love yourself, and this is about self-preservation. That's what I'm picking up. Self-preservation. Tell me more here for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Oh, Seven of Swords. Yeah, and you see it came out crossing. So I feel like somebody here is trying to get away, right? So it could be that you might not know how to face, right, this decision that you have to make to leave someone or to, you know, split from someone. And so I feel like someone here is strategizing, right? How do I get out of this situation without causing too much chaos, without making too much noise? How do I get away from this relationship or this person? Or even how do I, you know, separate myself from everything that I've known, right? So I feel like you're strategizing. This is the Seven of Swords is also a card of fears, right? Fears of being alone, fears of, you know, not being enough, fears of, there's a lot of fears involved here, right? And I feel like someone has kept a lot of secrets and held a lot to themselves out of fear. The Three of Wands, though. But I feel like you want to head in a different direction. It's like you're looking forward toward your future, and you want that change, right? You want to plan. You want, some of you could want to relocate. The Knight of Swords came out in the reverse. So I feel like what Spirit is saying with this is that if in the past you've been quick to make like hasty decisions, like just act quickly, irrationally or like erratically, like just react, right? If I'm feeling like this, or this is going on, then I'm just gonna do this. I feel like you're taking your time now. Like you're becoming aware of the patterns, and you're awakening to the fact that you need to slow down. You really need to think about things before you do them, right? So think before you act, because the Knight of Swords upright is coming in swift movement, fast. Let's go, let's do this. And I with the Knight of Swords coming out in the reverse here, flanking or clarifying the Queen of Pentacles, I feel like this is about pacing yourself, slowing down, not moving in a hasty manner. Okay. The Four of Pentacles, yeah, staying grounded. I feel like you're starting to notice things that you didn't notice before. It could be in this relationship that you're in, or with this connection, where it's almost like the roles are reversed now, right? Where some of you are dealing with someone who's really holding up a mirror to you, right? Who's reflecting a lot of the actions and the things that you did in the past before having this current recent awakening, right? Like this person is holding up a mirror, and so like you're noticing a lot, and you might be nitpicking at the person or just taking note, like looking at somebody sideways. But a lot of that behavior, I feel like you're also starting to resonate with, in the sense that it's like, oh, I did that. That was me. I used to do that. Yeah. And I feel like you're facing yourself in a lot of ways. I also feel like you could be feeling guarded as well, right? Like you could have pulled back your emotions from whoever it is that you're with. Knight of Wands is at the bottom of the deck. Some of you might be dealing with somebody who's just like a very in and out energy, or that could have been your actions. The Page of Wands came out. So either you, this could be someone, you could have children, right? There's children, because I see two children here. Two girls, as a matter of fact. The Page of Wands and the Page of Cups, two are both girls. And so I feel like this could be children. Maybe you're getting a lot of messages through your children. Maybe your children are sharing things with you that are helping you along the way, like helping you realize certain things, right? Because kids speak facts, like they speak truth, unless they're trying to cover some shit up for themselves. Then they can't be trusted. But when they're talking to you when they talk to you about you or about situations, most of the times, like kids don't lie, right? And I feel like that might be something here, right? There's messages, there's information that you might be receiving from your children. While others of you, this could just be that you are dealing with somebody younger than you, or you're seeing signs and synchronicities. You could be getting them from, other spaces, right? You could be walking around and like see something, and it's just like you feel like you're starting to notice the signs, is what I want to say. The Four of Cups, bottom of the deck. So I feel like right now, again, you could be feeling like you're not connecting with anybody, like just nobody gets you right now, right? You could be in a crowd of a bunch of people and you still feel alone. Like these people don't resonate with me. I don't resonate with these people. Like I don't belong here. What am I doing? Kind of, you feel like the oddball. It's not fulfilling you. The parties, the drinking, the hanging out, those pointless, meaningless, empty connections, they're not doing it for you anymore. Okay. What else here? Five of Wands. Yeah, I feel like you've had a lot of mental conflict, a lot of, just a lot of drama in the recent past as well. Not just, yeah, Five of Swords, Five of Wands, 5 and 5 is 10. There's definitely an ending here. And what Spirit is telling me is, for a lot of you, this is an ending to chaos and conflict. Not just mental conflict and like that mental turmoil, how you talk to yourself, all of the things that you're thinking about. It's like everything is coming in all at once. Might be feeling a lot too, because of the wands are like a very passionate energy, and so there's that, that feeling, that fiery feeling. So I feel like just really thinking a lot, and those thoughts, the memories that you have are causing you just a lot of different negative emotions. Outside of that, some of you are in a relationship with someone that's just unhealthy, where there's a lot of arguing, a lot of discord, a lot of drama. And I feel like you're already, pulled back from that, right? But that's coming to an end. Yeah, here's the Tower again. Can't make it up, right? Unexpected upheaval, right? Unexpected change, secrets coming to life. Something here is revealed, but also somebody's realizing, like, I don't want this. I don't want this kind of life for myself. I don't want this situation for myself. And I feel like it's not just the situation that you're in or that you're just getting out of. It's like everything. Everything about you is starting to change, right? And you're realizing that you don't want to run from the situation anymore, but you do want to light a match. Like, I want to set this whole shit on fire, burn it down so I can rebuild fresh. But the Tower here, yeah, see, what did I say? Fool at the bottom of the deck. You got the Tower here, burns everything down to the ground and walks away. It's like, I'm done with this shit. Even if I gotta leave with just the clothes on my back, I don't want to deal with this anymore, right? And so I feel like that's what's happening for you. You're learning to walk away from the chaos, the conflict. You're learning to make decisions that are healthier for you, that are more grounded, that are more mature, and that are coming from a place of alignment, because you are going through an awakening, you are ascending, you are raising your vibration, and it's because you're sitting with yourself and you're doing the work. It's because you're diving into your emotions. It's because you're feeling the feels. It's because you're facing those shadows. You're sitting with all the BS. And I feel like some of you, like, you're spending this time alone and you're allowing yourself to have those good cries, right? Don't be afraid to be vulnerable, even with your children, right? With people who you trust and love and who you admire and who intuitively have your best interest at heart. But know that when you're going through an awakening, right, unless somebody understands that, unless somebody has been there before, because they understand it because they've been there before, this kind of deep spiritual transformation, you might not feel like you can connect with anybody. And that is okay. I want you to know that that's part of that process, okay? Part of that process is feeling like nobody gets you. You know who does get you and who's always going to get you? God. God. When you're doing that work, when you're peeling back that onion and uncovering the layers, and you feel like no one gets you, that's okay. That's how you know you're on the right path. That's how you're doing something right. When you feel like, you know what, I don't even want to talk to these people. I don't want to share this with anybody. I want to go to God. I want to journal about it. I want to pray about it. That is when you know. And that's what you need to keep doing, right? The Fool card here was at the bottom of the deck. And I feel like ultimately this is what you want. You want a fresh start. You want a new beginning, right? You want to start from scratch. And you want to pack light. You don't want to take the baggage with you. So I feel like this time around, you're actually doing the work. You're actually doing the work to leave the heaviness behind so that you set yourself up for a clean slate, a clean canvas, okay? The Fool is ground zero. After going through all of the major arcana, right? You go through the world, you go through everything, you go through the Tower. After the Tower happens, the Star happens, which is hope and healing, restoration, faith, and wish fulfillment. But first, you got to burn it down to the ground. I always say this, anytime progress is being made, you must be prepared to leave someone behind. And when it comes to spiritual awakenings, dark nights of the soul, and facing yourself, the person that you're leaving behind, not just relationships and friends and family and habits and behaviors, but you're leaving behind the old version of yourself. That person has to die. That version of you has to die. You cannot take that version with you into the next chapter, into the next cycle. Okay? And I promise you, from the looks of it here, when this happens, right? When you hit rock bottom, and rock bottom, I'm not talking about in a financial sense. I'm talking about on a spiritual level. Okay? I'm talking 5D. I'm talking when nobody's looking at you. When you're by yourself in your room or in the bathroom or in the car, when you are alone, sitting with yourself and sitting with your thoughts and sitting with your feelings and sitting with the memories of the things that you've lived and the things that you've run from and the things that you've done and the things that have been done to you, when it's only you and God, okay? That is the rock bottom I'm referring to. Oh my God, sorry. I have like allergies or like a head cold. When it's only you and God, that rock bottom, all of the things that break you down, that bring you to tears, that's the rock bottom I'm referring to. That's where the transformation lies, at the bottom of the ocean. Once the smoke clears. Right? That's where everything lies, and that's where you can get the new beginning, right? And so after you hit that, there's only up. Because you must be stripped away from all of the things, all of the illusions, all of the lies that you've told yourself, okay? In order to keep running from yourself or, be able to feel better, okay? This might not be for everybody. Well, we know it's a general reading, but take what resonates, all right? Okay? 7 of Wands came out. Yeah, this is a time where you want to protect your energy, Taurus. Protect your energy. You're going to have to stay away from people. And you'll feel it. Friends, family, it doesn't matter. Anybody could get it. If there's anything that I've learned and that I'm grateful for, is my ability to separate myself. I separate myself quickly. I am really good at leaving people alone. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean that peacefully, gracefully. Right? Especially if it is interfering, or if I sense that it is going to interfere with my own progress and evolution. I will never go to war with myself again for anyone. And that is what this is saying, right? Oh, wait, stop right there. No, I got this here. I'm handling my scandal, right? Handle your scandal. The world, what did I say? You've been through the world. This cycle of your life, this is home stretch. This is what I've been saying, right, Taurus? So this right here is like you are going to have to go to work. And I feel like you're finally starting to do that work, right? You're going to have to get down on your knees, right? Grab the tools. Because this cycle of heartbreak and running and lies and deception and all of the things, it is coming to an end. It is coming to an end. It is coming to a closing because you are going through an awakening. And I love that for you. Because the sun shines after the rain. Even if right now, in the midst of all of this chaos and conflict and mental turmoil, know that things are changing. The wheel is turning. Things are changing. Flow with the process. Learn yourself. Pay attention to the signs. When you feel the urge to react to something, even if it's somebody who's trying to get a reaction out of you, resist the urge to react. Resist the urge to react. Because that is you acting on impulse off of emotion. No. Process. Even if you say to somebody, I cannot answer that right now. I need a minute to process what you're asking of me, what you're saying to me. And after I process this and think about it, let me sit with it, I will come back to you with a response, because you're going to allow yourself to really meditate and sit with whatever the situation is, and then allow an answer to come to you from a place of clarity and peace, without, not based on emotion, but on logic. Does this make sense? Is this peaceful? Does this resonate with me? Again, that cycle is coming to an end. Okay, give me some messages to close out. Any advice here for Taurus? What can Taurus expect next? What do you have in the near future? The Magician came out. I love that. You're taking control of your life. Whoa, let me pick this up. Okay, I'm going to take these two. Oh, this is great. This is your card, Taurus, which is the Hierophant. We got the Magician, we got the Hierophant, and we got the Six of Pentacles. Love more, love more. Yeah. It's funny because in the Six of Pentacles is usually a card. Well, it's a card of harmony. It's a card of equal give and take, right? Of equality, of fairness, of giving and receiving. But a lot of times in most tarot decks, there are three people in the Six of Pentacles, right? There's the person standing giving to two sides. And in the card, it usually looks like they're giving to one side, but they have somebody over here and their hand is over here. And so it's almost like saying you're giving to two sides, but you're giving to one side more than the other. So something is imbalance, off balance, unfair, unequal, right? In this card, there's just two people, and they're giving to each other. And so I feel like a lot of you are in the process of doing this, right? When you break all of this down, I feel like there's something else that you will rebuild with someone else, okay? Or there's at least a desire here to want to now share something with someone else in a way that is fair, that is equal, that is honest. The Hierophant is you, okay? The Hierophant is about commitment and unions. It could be a card of marriage, but it's also a card of learning. So I feel like, and this is what Spirit is saying, you are learning to be fair. You are learning to be equal. You are learning that you don't have to give to everyone. And by giving, I also mean like you don't have to be around, like be with every Tom, Dick and Harry. You don't have to be with, the community penis and vagina, right? You're learning that. And I feel like this is what you desire, or you're learning to desire, which is just one space. You have space for one person. So you're being reserved with yourself. And I feel like you're learning to take on a more traditional approach to partnership and relationships, okay? And the Magician is after the Fool. The Fool is 0, the Magician is 1. So after you go through the storm, the tower, you pack light, you take the risk to move forward. Again, some of you are actually going to want to move, right? And the Magician says you have everything that you need to create the life that you want, to gain that stability, to have that equal give and take, for things to balance out. Clarify the Hierophant here for Taurus. It's also a card, Seven of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles. This is progress, right? And the Four of Swords, healing. So I feel like a lot of you are going to take some time out to heal from this whole situation, right? Your life over the past, over a decade. Your life. Some of you since forever, right? But with the Seven of Pentacles here, I feel like there's also a desire to want to give to someone else, and she has her back turned. So it could be a desire of you to either want to reconcile with someone after. It could be the person that you were with here, even though this is a very unhealthy situation that I see. Could be a desire to, you know, reconnect with that person after you've done healing, after you're done healing, after you're done, you know, really figuring out what it is that you want and coming from a healthy space, a fair space. Okay, the Chariot, forward movement, victory. Okay, this is a card of willpower and drive. You take the reins. Okay, this is a card of inner strength, and again, balance, the duality. Okay, yeah, some of you want to move or going. Some of you may experience a tower that takes you from one place to another, like literally that you come to some sort of realization, or you're like, you know what, I'm gonna move. But I feel like this comes from a not from a place of like you're not acting on impulse now. You're not doing this off the fly, emotional or anything like that. No, I don't feel like that. I feel like this is something that you think about for a while after you come out of this situation, right? Once the smoke clears, I do see that for many of you, that you're going to have some sort of realization where you're just like, you know what? You know, I want to go in this direction or whatever that is. And I love that for you, right? But the Chariot ultimately talks about success, victory, right? There's light at the end of the tunnel. With the Ace of Swords, there's an awakening, there's an epiphany, there's a breakthrough, okay? And the High Priestess, follow your intuition, okay? And, you know, you don't have to tell everybody everything, okay? So keep some things, be reserved about your healing, be protective of your energy, right? Because there are certain people that are still going to want to hang on to the old you. And that is going to be another challenge in and of itself, right? Is that the people around you, especially family, let me tell you, nobody wants to keep you the same like family does, okay? In the process of you changing, family will be the first one to try to tell you that you are not who you think you are. So there's a lot of, you know, there are cards here that are telling me, you know, when you realize something, when you have something in mind, reserve it, hold on to it, and only communicate that to, you know, people that you trust, who are already living a life that, you know, you admire, that resonates with your spirit. Who are living a life that someone you would trade places with, okay? If you look at the person and you're like, yeah, I wouldn't trade places with you, like it's the same, it would be like a lateral move, or I wouldn't want your life at all, then you don't want to go to that person for advice, you know? Go to a therapist, go to a guru, go to a mentor, go to a religious leader that you confide in, okay? For some of you, it could be, you know, an older person in your life that you really admire and trust. For others of you, it could be a spiritual leader, okay? Or just someone who you really confide in, because I feel like there's a desire here to move towards someone, to have a conversation, because you're being intuitively guided to speak to them, to ask them for advice. Because you know that they're going to give you objective advice, fair advice, okay? Otherwise, keep a lot of, you know, these changes to yourself. You're going to go through a process where you're going to be cutting out people left and right, okay? Because, again, I feel like you're awakening to this new life. And again, after the smoke clears, after this rough patch, you are going to come up for air. And you're going to experience this, the Ace of Wands here. Okay, and I do see the Emperor down there. So you're rebuilding your life. but you're gonna build a solid foundation now, right? Because you're no longer running. You're not, like building castles made of sand. Okay? So I love that for you. There's a brand new spanking beginning here. But again, you got to do the work and you got to continue to face that. And I feel like you're doing a great job. And I feel like, ultimately, I want to remind you that there is no relationship more important than the one that you have with God and yourself. So, some of you are going to decide to go to therapy. Some of you may have issues with court right now, or that could present itself, okay, to which I don't feel like it's gonna, I don't feel like it's not gonna go in your favor. But again, if you need a mentor, if you need that, there's no shame in getting some therapy. I get therapy, I swear by, therapy, in addition to whatever your spiritual practices are or your faith, the more the merrier, okay? Anything that is going to be really supportive to your healing, and this journey, okay? A lot of you also could be looking at new job opportunities. So I just want to throw that out there. But I think that is all I have for you today, Taurus. I hope that you enjoyed this reading. Thank you for sticking with me all of this time. If it resonated with you, drop a comment down below. Let me know how. I always like to hear from you guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I hope that you'll consider subscribing. And if you're interested in following me on my other social media platforms or a personal reading, you can reach out to me. Actually, all of the information is going to be in the description box below. Okay, I'm tired, you guys. I love you all so much. Peace, love, and light.